You have 100 items to choose from, human. Choose wisely. Most choose the last one.
I already have.
My name is Mara Reyes. 3 months ago I was pulling double shifts as a combat medic reservist in West Texas. Now I was standing in the belly of a Dominion harvesting ship, being evaluated alongside 42 other humans, none of whom I'd ever see again after today. The Dominion called it the Proving. What it actually was a filtering system, a way to sort newly discovered species into 2 columns: protected or property. Every species that wanted status in Dominion space had to prove something. Intelligence tests didn't work anymore. Too many species could fake those. So they'd switched to something crueler and more honest. They dropped you on a hostile world with 1 item of your choosing from 100 available, and they watched what you did next. Every human before me had chosen a weapon. Plasma rifles, energy blades, stun batons, the biggest, loudest thing on the table. Every single one of them had died within 6 hours of drop, according to the readouts scrolling past Voskai's tablet. Chose the knife. Not because I was brave. Because I understood something the others hadn't figured out yet. A weapon is only as good as the mind holding it. And on an unfamiliar world against unfamiliar predators, the biggest gun in the galaxy doesn't teach you where the water is. Voskai stared at the readout hovering over my selection. Tactical knife. Like it had personally offended him. Behind him, Sergeant Threx, a green armored soldier built like a wall, snorted. She'll last less than the others. Noted, Voskai said flatly, and gestured toward the drop bay. They dropped me into a canyon at dusk. Red rock walls rising on either side. And the air smelled like ozone and dry brush. Within the first hour I found tracks. Heavy, 4-toed, dragging. Something big had passed through recently. Moving with purpose, not grazing. I didn't build a weapon first. I built a shelter, wedged into a rock overhang where I could see the canyon floor but nothing could see me. Then I used the knife to strip bark from a resin-heavy shrub and rub the sap onto my exposed skin, masking my scent, a trick I'd learned from an old ranger in Wyoming who swore by it for elk hunting. By nightfall the creature came. It was massive, armored plates along its spine, low to the ground, moving in that unmistakable predator gait. It circled below my shelter for nearly 20 minutes, nostrils working, confused by the masked scent trail. I didn't move. Barely breathed. Left. The second night, I set snares from vine fiber along the narrow game trail I'd mapped that morning, and caught something small and edible. Arrested. I studied the terrain the way I used to study a patient's chart, looking for the thing that would kill me before it happened, not after. By the 4th day, the readouts back on the ship, I'd learn later, had every Dominion officer gathered around Voskai's console. The human with the knife was still alive. The humans with the plasma rifles were not. On the 6th day, the armored predator found me anyway. Had learned. It came from downwind, fast, and I had half a second to react. I didn't run. Running meant showing my back to something built for speed. I went low into the narrow gap between 2 boulders where its size worked against it, and when it lunged, jaws snapping at the space where I'd been a heartbeat earlier, I drove the knife up under the soft plate at its throat, the one spot the ranger's old field manual on armored game had taught me to look for, the spot every large predator on Earth or off it seemed to share. It went down. I didn't kill it out of triumph. I killed it because it was that or I was. They pulled me out on day 9. I walked onto the retrieval shuttle on my own legs, knife still in its sheath, and Voskai was waiting. Explain, he said, why you are the only one still breathing. You gave 43 humans the same test, I said. You gave us weapons that could kill from a distance, and then you dropped us somewhere those weapons ran out of charge in 6 hours. The knife doesn't run out. Sergeant Threx's expression had gone very still. Voskai studied me the way he'd studied the readout back on the ship, recalculating something. The test was designed to measure raw capability, he said slowly. It appears we measured the wrong variable. You measured what a species reaches for first, I said. You should have measured what they figure out after. He was quiet for a long moment. Then he turned to his tablet and made an entry I couldn't see. Human designation change, he said, mostly to himself. Category, protected. Subclassification, adaptive threat. That a compliment? Yes. For the first time, something that might have been the beginning of respect crossed his face. Among my people, he said, it is the only kind that matters.